The ocean floor, a mysterious and wonderful place. It takes over 70% of the world, meaning our Earth mostly homes to sea creatures and sea life. But what were to happen if all the sea life you see here were to disappear?
Most think this can't happen since the sea is so big, but things like catching fish, like you see here, if this were to happen every day, don't you think that the fish population would have gone down by now? But there are ways around this as to a limit for once per day and where to fish at. So you don't go to the same place every time and wipe out the population of that area. But what if this was happening? What if there was a place where the fish were being hunted constantly? Well, something like that is happening. And it's not done by a normal fisherman or a normal group. It's done by a creature known as the crayfish. They are also known as codfish and the aquatic cockroach. They are aquatic creatures that are able to live in both in salt and fresh water, which means that no place is actually safe except for a place with its natural predator. But here in our ecosystem near your homes, we don't have its natural predator, so it will grow with no limit to stop them from reproducing and making more. And this is a problem because one normal batch of crayfish would estimate to have 100 live crayfish. And since in our environment we have no natural predator for the crayfish, that means they'll be able to grow and reproduce at any rate without stop, which means that the sea life you have seen could go to waste.
1. What is the problem? The problem is that crayfish are invasive species, and you found out what they have done during this video. But the problem genuinely isn't about the crayfish. It is that our ecosystem and our general community don't know about this problem. Me, from a personal situation, I didn't even know about the crayfish problem till my sophomore year here in Bioscience High School. So, thinking about the other people, who else would be getting involved? So when I looked into this problem, I found out that the only people that were actually figuring out the crayfish problem were people that would genuinely be near the crayfish, so fishermen and hunters. The stakeholders, which means who is getting affected by the problem of the crayfish. This has a wide range of people getting affected. The first ones could be fish buyers, which means people that genuinely buy fish, or you yourself. You could get affected by not being able to purchase any more fish if this problem were to go to that level. Another person being affected are the fish deliverers. They could lose their jobs, most importantly, because if there's no fish, who are they going to deliver it to? They can't. The third one could be the fish suppliers and sellers. The fishermen who catch the fish and the stores who sell the fish could get drastically affected by this problem because there won't be any more fish to sell, as well as the fishermen won't have a job and won't have to go get a different job. Who else is getting affected is we can't affect the ones that are actually in the problem, which is the fish themselves. They are getting affected by having a new predator in their area and they aren't sure what to do with it. And the last place that could get affected is our economics, which would be able to control our production and our wealth. And one of the last people that could get infected is economics, because if you lose a specific livestock, that shows an amount of money lost for your people. How does the world look without this problem? Well, without the problem of crayfish being an invasive species, the world wouldn't exactly go back to normal, because what we need to do to get the invasive species out of our ecosystem is we need to get more involved with each other and our community. We have to get connected and try to figure this problem out with each other. So not only will our world look like it used to, our world will also be more connected with each other, making bonds with each other, and finding out that our ecosystem does need everybody to make it go round and survive. I found two other organizations also working with the problem of the crayfish being an invasive species in Phoenix. They were Arizona Game and Fish and the Arizona Crayfish Company. Both of these had the same idea of how they could work with the problem. They try to get information out about the crayfish and what's wrong with them, and trying to get people involved. What the Arizona Crayfish Company did, what Arizona Game and Fish did was they informed people about the crayfish infestation and how they could catch him, and gave them helpful hints on what they would need to catch him. But what the Arizona Crayfish Company did, they got people out and involved with the actual crayfish, and they actually caught crayfish. What the Arizona Crayfish Company did was they actually went out to the lakes and looked for crayfish and taught people how to catch crayfish, and after they would catch them, they would all have a festival where they would cook the crayfish together, making it seem like a better opportunity for people to get more involved because they would actually get something out of this opportunity. So if we just focus on the same people, not much is going to change. The same problem is going to keep happening because only the same people know. So what we thought about was, why not inform different environments? We could inform other people that aren't so involved with the aquatic ecosystem, and that's how our word could get around. Even though there's a slight smaller chance that change will happen, we all have to know about the crayfish infestation of our environment so we could all get involved and not just a specific part of the community. So we decided that, seeing how we're low on time, we should focus for next year. Next year we are planning to get involved with our local crayfish field trip that we have every year. We want to get involved with that, and I've asked around and we found out that only a few freshmen and seniors got involved, while juniors and sophomores were a majority of the people there. So I was wondering if most of the freshmen and seniors even know about the crayfish problem, and if they do, how much of their family know about this problem. We want to get our families involved, as well as other students and friends that don't go to Bioscience High School, and see how those people react to this problem, and see if we could get them involved with our daily field trip, and see if we could get those people involved with our yearly field trip to the lake to catch crayfish.